Father, I thank you so much for Jonathan. What a miracle. And I thank you, Lord, that he is just being used in such a wonderful way. He's a good man, he's a good friend. And we ask you, Lord, just to bless our time as we fellowship and we speak of the good things, Lord, and the healing in his life that has come from you, Jesus. And we give you praise for this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
Yeah.
For those that are maybe you're seeing this for the first time, my name is Pastor Joanne Landry. I'm with the Interfaith Bible Center. We're here at 7501 Trumbull Southeast. I've been here for 29 years as a minister. And 4 years ago, 10 years ago, we were able to meet a lot of our homeless population here in the International District. And we had a lot living just up the street at the park. And I got to know many of them, and we just started small by feeding maybe 3 times a week, helping them with clothing, hygiene. And then we had this great vision that God had given us about creating a place for them. And we created this wonderful place called the Compassion Service Center. It's a shelter, it's a home, it's a community, it's friendships, families, to create a safe place where people can live, they can shower there, they can eat, and it's just a wonderful place. And so I got to meet this wonderful man here. His name is
Jonathan Benoit.
Jonathan, and he's got a great, deep. I love his low voice. He should have been a DJ, I think.
Maybe.
But we
Still time.
we met. Gosh, how long has it been?
Just a little over a year and a month.
Wow, so over
Close
a year.
to 2 months now. Yeah.
We've been together here at the Compassion Center. What was going on in your life when we first met? You were still struggling with an addiction?
When we first met, I was still struggling with my addiction.
What was your drug of choice?
My drug of choice was alcohol. I was an alcoholic from 11 to 45. Really. Over at least 30 years. Just alcohol. A lot of hard liquor. I've also tried a lot of other drugs at least once. Majority of them I didn't like. Glad I didn't get hooked on those. A lot of it didn't really give me the feeling that alcohol gave me.
Yep.
But the depression, it worsened. And
they do say that alcohol brings out depression worse, that it is a depressant.
Yeah, it's a depressant. I didn't realize that or think about that at the time, but the more you do drink it, the more depressed you get, on top of whatever it is that you're already dealing with.
Right.
It gets heavier. It's just like swimming. You could be wearing the simplest clothes, but when they get wet, they get heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're trying to swim out of a pool where the sides are miles apart,
right,
it's gonna take you a struggle, and you're eventually drowning it. And that's pretty much where I was at. I was struggling with getting up out of that bottle, getting my head above the alcohol.
What was the worst thing that alcohol did for you? I mean, you said it brought you deeper into depression, to a place maybe that it became dangerous for you, Jonathan?
I think with everything that I experienced through life up to that point, generational trauma, sexual trauma, just other, just the different traumas that I went through, spending majority of my time alone because I didn't want to get picked on. I didn't want to get bullied. I'd rather spend my time on my own.
So isolation.
Isolated myself. Didn't really call anybody friend. I didn't really have any friends. There might have been a few, but there were more acquaintances, just passing by. But it got worse. It got me to the point where I wanted to kill myself. I've attempted suicide 4 times because of it. Um, I didn't realize how toxic I was, or how toxic my relationship was at the time. Um, Everything just pushed me to a point where I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to deal with anything anymore. I was done. Nobody was there. I felt alone. My parents didn't teach me what I needed to. These are things that I thought about and made me drink, try to get away from it, to think, and a lot of times I drank because I wanted to be cool enough to have a conversation and think, let everybody know that I've got conversation, I'm a good guy,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen that way.
I've heard that. There's people that are real shy and quiet, and they drink because it makes them more boisterous, more, they can have conversations, they can make people laugh, and they
Yeah.
feel like, well, I'm kind of like
It
a
does drop.
clown, and everybody likes me when I'm drunk.
It does drop
So
a lot of
why not?
inhibitions.
Yeah.
I mean, shyness is just like a veil. You give somebody that shy just one shot, and you just see them open up. They'll light up. They'll start smiling, like you said, laughing, joking,
Yeah.
having a good time.
Right.
But tomorrow is not going to feel that way.
No.
And that was always the worst.
Right. We can look in the mirror and we can say, oh, well, I still look good. I think, I'm good. But inside our body is starting to break down, we're starting to, our liver, our, and you found out you were diabetic when?
2009,
Wow.
2010, I believe. It was like a couple of years after I got out of prison, where I went for a physical, and they did everything. They ran blood tests and everything, and then the doctor came back and told me, we really need to take care of this. You are diabetic. They told me my A1C was like at 17, 18, which is really high.
Wow, really high.
And at the time I didn't know how long it had been that high, but when you drink a lot of hard liquor and just straight liquor, majority of the times, it's just sugar.
Yeah.
And it builds up on top of being diabetic. It builds up.
Right.
Not understanding that and not knowing that at the time, and just continuously drinking every day, just a functioning addict. It came to a point where I didn't even know that neuropathy had started. There was tingling on my feet. It just felt painful. My fingertips, my thighs, sometimes it was like around here, but just that continuous like stinging feeling, excuse me, was the neuropathy starting. Now I can't really feel like the skin on my feet, my fingertips, same thing, the same areas I can't really feel because of the neuropathy.
All right, we were talking about, we'll bring that back into the conversation too. When I first met you, you and your friend had come to the Compassion Center, to the shelter. It was really cold, and I don't know how you guys heard about us. Do you remember?
When I first got here over a year ago in June, I started looking for work. Eventually I ended up with a blister on my ankle, and it ended up becoming gangrene. I went through surgery, nearly lost my right leg from the knee down, because of the gangrene and being diabetic, and just as bad as it was.
When I met you, you were still recovering from that.
Yeah, and the surgery was like quick, and then I got kicked into a rehab facility like maybe almost exactly a week after my surgery, and I stayed there for 9 months until insurance kicked me out.
A long time.
And I wasn't getting physical therapy yet. I was just healing on wound vac. My
brothers went through that. They both lost their limbs.
Yeah, and it, as painful as it was, it actually cut my healing time in half.
Wow.
And once they saw that I was just about healed, they kicked me out. So I ended up at a Motel 6.
Did they recommend you to us?
No. When I ended up getting kicked out of Motel 6 a month after that, I called my vet rep at Goodwill,
Oh, okay.
and I can't remember his name, but he's not there anymore.
Okay.
He was told, he's the one that gave me the number. He was like, there's this person that might help you. Just give him a call. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'll
Yeah,
do
I
that.
still get a lot of referrals from Goodwill.
Yeah,
Yeah, they send me some good guys.
and I think we came that same day, and we stayed. I've been here ever since, and everything's just been changing for me.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that because you had alcohol in your breath that night you came, and I could have said, we're sober living, and I smell alcohol. This probably isn't the place, but I really felt that the Lord just said, hold on to this one, hold on to this one. So I says, well, go ahead, come on in, guys. But I said, please don't show up like this again tomorrow. And Jonathan, you didn't, and I thank you for that. And from there on, we started the recovery program. We started talking, and it was mostly, a lot of times it was inside of the Compassion Center with 40 beds. We're all close, just kind of chilling, talking about our topics.
Right.
And you just started to talk. You started to say, hey, my leg right now, I almost lost it. You started talking about your drug of choice, and you just started talking about yourself. And I was like, wow, this guy is good. He has a lot to say. You started showing compassion to the people inside the Compassion Center. You were doing side work with them. You would just encourage them. And just tell them, hey, you're not alone. You can do this. I mean, really, you were bringing motivation to them.
Right now.
So we started seeing you just like transform, from that little worm to a butterfly.
Butterfly. Yeah.
We started calling you, hey, that's our preppy kid. We started saying you started changing the way you dressed. You were motivated. You said, I'm gonna go get a job. You got a job at Goodwill, and things just started going forward for you. You would speak a lot at the recovery and just share a lot of your own,
yeah, I mean,
things that you've gone through.
I think at the time I felt the need that I need to get something out. I'm tired of holding this in. And that was really what it was. I wasn't thinking beyond that. It was just more like, I need to unload whatever it is I'm carrying, because this is heavy. This is getting tiring. And I'm at the point where it's like, I need to find something to keep me going.
Yes.
And that's when I started, like you said, I started speaking about my experiences, things I've gone through, just the possibility of losing my leg. But I was always grateful that I still do have my leg, that I'm still able to walk. And just that gratefulness, I think I hung on to that, and just thank you every day, just being thankful I'm able to walk. That helped me become more willing to go look for a job.
Yes.
Get rid of
motivated.
Yeah. And then just seeing the people, like instead of just talking about it, I wanted to show.
Right.
Start showing, because actions have to go behind words.
Right.
A lot of people just use words and don't use the action. So like you said, I'd take a couple of these guys to go do a moving job or something. We get paid. So there was a couple of times that I didn't get paid myself. I split it between them, because I knew it's okay. I got a job. Yeah. This is just something on the side that I'm trying to help somebody else.
Yep. You guys would take little field trips and take off from the center and go and
but I think
shopping and
I think
lunch,
in the beginning it was because it was more, let's get away from here. We need to start experiencing things on our own.
Yes.
Let's find out about ourselves and start enjoying us and learning what we like without excuse me, without outside influence, without thinking about what my mom, my dad, my sister, brother, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, what everybody else likes. Push all that away. Let's go do what we like to do.
Yep. And being sober.
Being sober was a
Sober
big
is
part of it.
awesome.
That was the
Yeah.
biggest change about it. It was like,
Experiencing new things.
yeah. And I think that opened my eyes to a whole lot of like, wow, I've been missing out on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I could have made a network of friends where I could be like, you know, a positive influence where, hey, you know, you got this, you keep going.
Yeah.
And now it's like that. But back then, I just imagine how much, you know, how much further it would have been if I would have started then.
Right. Yeah. You know, because we like you said earlier in your testimony that you didn't really have friends. You know, you were an isolator. You know, and as long as you had your bottle with you, I guess you felt you were okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I had bottles everywhere.
But now you are like popular here. You know, we've gone through. We go through a lot of people.
Yeah.
But everyone has always like clung to you. You know, and wanted to talk with you. You know, and they encourage you and they want to go out with you. Let's go out and do this, Jonathan. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
which is great.
I think the biggest part of that is not judging them when we have a conversation, because a lot of them don't know what I've been through. So when they tell me, you know, a similar experience that they had like mine, then I'll share that, and just to let them know, hey, you're not alone, because this is what happened to me. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, you know, that's what they'll have that connection with, and it starts to build on trust after that.
Right, the defenses come down,
they
the
come
walls
down a little
come
bit.
down, and we're able to go and create relationship, which is great.
Yeah, and the deeper the conversations get, and the more like, how did you do it? It comes up. What made you decide to sober up? What made you decide to change? That comes up, and that's where that it really gets to, you know, like get you thinking, how do I get this person to start going?
Right.
And it just keeps going.
Right.
Like, you know,
the snowball effect.
Yeah.
We see so much of it here at the Compassion Center. I mean, I think you're number 10. You're our 10th interview. 10. And there's more that we want to bring. And that's like, wow, just to see how people's lives have changed. You know, I mean, really a whole turnaround. And with it comes the mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual part here at the Compassion Center, at the Interfaith Bible Center.
Right.
And everybody just starts to like think about it and say, well, maybe it's my turn. Maybe this is what I need to do too. You know, we tell everybody at the Rise Up Recovery, you know, when you are participating in your activity, you know, like we talked about self-victimization.
Yeah.
We're always feeling like we're the victim. You know, what's going on in your life when you feel like that? And, you know, people might look at you and say, oh, I'm not going to tell. I don't want to talk about that. I'm not going to say nothing. But we always tell everybody that when you write down what's in your heart, and when we read it up here, it's going to affect somebody else out there.
Right.
And that's when people say, wow, I thought that was just me. No, it's not just you. We all can feel like that.
Right, because every situation like that, it has a different facet to it. Each person views it in a different way. And they'll say things about it which will provoke others to think about it from that point of view. And be like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, that's right, you know. And you start looking around like, I wonder who else, you know. But I think that's what makes, you know, people want to share more, which is why, you know, I really sit there and I think, you know, like, I got to be honest with myself. I have to, because if I'm not, and if I'm just going through the motions, I'm not doing the work that I need to, to continue to be better.
We don't want to be a facade, right?
No.
We really want to be transparent.
Yes.
To where we really want to, excuse me, become healed. We want to be healed.
And I think that's a big part of it is the darkness is full of secrets. I've had a lot of that. And, but once I decided I'm done. I'm done being in the dark. I'm done hiding in the shadows, just lurking, all these ugly things behind me or whatever. Once I decided to come to the light and change, and I'm like, the honesty, the transparency has been a lot more easier,
Yeah,
lighter.
positive.
Yeah, I'm like, if I have some, it's just like if they come and ask for a cigarette, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have any. I'm out. I might have given somebody my last one, or whatever, but it's just, that's all I can say. I don't need to explain.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they get mad, then they have the issue.
It's
not
on
me.
them, not
Yeah.
you, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't get. I
Yeah.
wasn't the one that got you started on your habit, but
Well, I'm so glad that
know.
you didn't succeed in your suicide attempts, because there's so much greatness in you, Jonathan, and you're highly intelligent and you have so much to give.
Thank you.
And I see you do that all the time.
I try.
But
yeah.
I'm really proud of the fact that now you're doing a lot of self-care.
Mhm.
You're starting to take care of you right now, and you're getting better. I mean, you started the Goodwill job, which was great. Started bringing in your money. You're living the life,
Right.
And then it's like the brakes hit again, and you're having all this eye trouble. And you said you shared with the group too. Hey, diabetic. This is from diabetes and from my alcoholism.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it when you do state that we have this romantic relationship with our drinking and our drugs, and we don't really hear a lot of people talk about the effects that these drugs and this alcohol has done, and it's destroying our organs, and I really appreciate that you have used that in a positive way to help people. So you started going through all of this eye stuff. First you hurt an eye at work, right?
Well, it started probably like 4 years ago. A cataract started.
Oh, wow.
In my right eye.
Okay.
Or no, I take that back, in my left eye.
Mhm.
And that's what started the whole thing, the cataract. And I was out in Pennsylvania at the time, just beginning my sobriety, and just being home, healing. It didn't feel right, but things happened, and with the appointments continuously just like moving ahead, it got to the point where it didn't heal right.
Oh.
And by the time I got here back to New Mexico, the lens was displaced, which basically the lens fell out, and it was somewhere in my eye. I just couldn't see. It just felt it was just like looking through a thick piece of plastic.
Wow.
So blurry. No peripheral vision. So walking home at night was dangerous, because I wouldn't see anybody swinging anything from me from my left side.
Wow.
So I had to kind of walk against a wall on this side and kind of protect myself. But just a lot of things. But I got that fixed, and maybe not even a month after I got that fixed is when at work I heard it from just helping a customer load a piece of furniture into her car. The glove slipped, and I actually hit myself in the eye.
Wow.
And that caused another cataract rupture, I guess. But at the time I didn't know. It was just like red, like bloody, and I couldn't see, and it just covered my whole eye. So they sent me home, and I didn't work for almost another 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah. And that could have caused you to say, hey, you know what? Why is all this happening to me? I was just going forward with my life, and now look at this. It could have easily caused you to start drinking.
Me, I've thought about it, and I don't know what it was going through that time that I didn't think about it. There was times when I was like, yeah, I would have probably been, drunk right now if I was the old me still, but just feeling sorry for myself. But instead of that, I got to, like you said, I started meeting people, and like, hey, we started making plans. Hey, let's go do something.
you go.
If he wasn't available, or if nobody was available, I'll be like, hey, I got to get out. I got to go do
Mhm.
something. This is where I'm going.
Yeah.
And they would check on me every now and then.
Yep.
And
But you
just,
stay true to your sobriety.
yeah,
Because a lot of people, they say, oh, look what this has happened. It's a new stressor. Start feeling sorry for yourself,
Yeah.
kind of almost give yourself permission to relapse.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't do it. That is so awesome. I'm so proud of you.
I think it's more, what really helped me was thinking, instead of being drunk or even just walking here drinking, why don't I just enjoy walking through this path? Listen to the birds,
Yeah, good
listen
for
to the
you.
river alongside, or the
Yeah.
creek, or whatever.
Yeah, different outlook.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Like, enjoy that rather than thinking about, oh, well, all the negative that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
The negativity is what we got to cut off.
Right.
You've got to change your way of thinking. A lot of positive self-talk, like, hey, you know what? I don't need to drink anymore. Right. I've got this kind of figured out to where now I got to put more work into me,
Mm-hmm.
into my mental health.
Yep.
Especially the mental health, because if I didn't know that I had a mental issue or was diagnosed with a mental issue when I was in the military, I don't think I would have gone back and did more research. At the time in the early 90s, there wasn't a whole lot of information about mental issue. And it was a lot of shame in it and a lot of guilt, and like people kept it quiet because they didn't want to be thought of as crazy or, losing it or nuts, right, or whatever. But I didn't think about it until it got to the point where I was like wanting to commit suicide. That really made me think, why am I even thinking this? Right. Like, I never thought this all my life, but why now? But out of all that, like I said, changing my way of thinking, changing my way of what I look at, the positive instead of the negative, instead of dwelling on like it was just a really bad day. Somewhere in that bad day, something good have had to happen to you during that day.
Looking for the good,
that glimmer.
Yep.
Yeah,
looking for that.
And a lot of alcoholics call it a glimmer, when like it could have been the worst day of your life, but you're gonna look for the best thing that happened to you during that day. That's
Focus
that little
that.
Yeah.
Because life is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have losses.
Yeah.
We're gonna have disappointments.
A lot.
We're gonna fail in some area of our life, or shame, guilt, all that will come in.
Mm-hmm.
But using a relapse as an option is not an option.
No.
Right?
No.
We've got to say, hey, I have come this far. Why would I want to go back? Okay, life is going to happen, but I'm not going to use that as an option.
Right.
I'm not going to do it. I got to go. I got to go forward. And, you're looking, and you and I have talked about this, all the progress you've done within a year of your life, which is so amazing. And you have still, stayed true to your sobriety. You have stayed true to the friends that you have created, even, your friend that you came with. You have watched this individual progress.
Right,
you have been there as her side motivation to say, you can do this, and I'm proud of you, and you continue to do that, Jonathan. That is such a gift. And I really do hope and pray that you will still consider to go back to college and become that addiction counselor, because you have a lot of talent in that area. You're a great listener.
Right.
You have a good outlook. You can read people really, really good. And you have a way of uplifting people. So I hope that you will consider that, because you thought about that before, right?
I did, and I shared with you, I did apply. I wanted to go back for like substance abuse counseling.
Right.
And where I wanted to start was at the very bottom, where I wanted to make sure I understood everything from the beginning.
Right.
Even though people will probably laugh at me and look at me like, why are you way, way back there starting with like the baby stuff? Because I haven't been here for years. I haven't been in college for years. I don't know where I'm at right now. I'll start from the beginning. Let me do me and learn the way I'm going to do. Because as of this point, I probably have more experience than you do
Life
in life.
experience, yeah.
And that's just what I'm going on. You know,
Mhm.
it's not a competition. If I can get it, I'll get it. But at the time, at first, is like, you know, I had a problem with the laptop. You know,
Mhm.
they told me keep coming back, come back in a week, in 2 weeks, we should have one for you. And I went back every 2 weeks, still didn't get it, and I had to drop that class. But that also ruined my financial aid. So
Mhm.
now I've got to what they call that, to
Reapply?
no,
No.
like to fight the
Appeal.
appeal the
Okay.
financial aid,
Okay.
to explain to them, look, the college didn't have the laptop that I needed, so
Right.
I couldn't do the work on my phone because my phone doesn't have the capacity for Microsoft and all
Right.
that. And you know, but I'm not gonna stop.
No.
If it's not there, there's other things.
And I have a laptop for you.
We can do that.
If
And
you ever want to reconsider, I do. I mean, I had a
what
great
I will
guy
start
that brought us 4 of them.
I will start on I will start back on, like I said, the appeal. Right now, like you said, everything just
Mhm.
screeched to a halt for me.
Yeah.
My phone got shut off. I'm gonna finally go back to work after 3 weeks tomorrow.
You got your eyes fixed?
My eyes
That
are
was your big one.
fixed. That was my biggest one.
Yeah.
Not being able to see clearly,
Well, you have
both
to see
eyes.
clearly to
And
do all
now
that.
thank God I've got my eyes, and
Yay, and your
I can see
legs doing
clearly, and my legs
good.
good, even
And you're
though,
sober.
and I'm sober. And you know, it's just, this has been a blessing, because the Compassion Center isn't just a shelter. I mean, this place, the way I see it, Pastor Joanne, you gave me that chance, and it was the one step that I needed. The one stop where I could rest, that I could heal and not worry about having to pay a bill or having to give something. The compassion, just you tell me. I remember you told me, just heal. We'll go back across, lay down, rest, heal.
That's it.
Didn't know how much that meant, and it took a long time, but I had to put in the work.
Mm.
I had to be the one to decide what I was going to do from there. Didn't matter to me what anybody else was going to do. My friend decided she didn't want to stay. She went back to the streets for a minute. I didn't run after her. I didn't chase her. That was her choice.
Yeah.
I made a choice to stay, and I told her, I've got to do this, because if I take another drink, I might die.
You might die. Look what happened to our friend Ivan.
Exactly. I mean,
It just broke my heart.
That, you know, Ivan was the first one here that I could speak Navajo to and have a conversation. He was an awesome guy, you know.
Yes, he was.
And he wanted so hard just to be sober, and we would talk about it. And you know, his wife made it hard for him.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I was like, you know, you can't worry about what she wants, because at this point you can't think about the marriage.
Yeah.
You have to think about yourself as a person before you can even go back to being married.
Right.
You know, you got to fix yourself. She's got to fix herself.
Yeah.
We all have to fix ourselves before we can even, you know, try to help somebody else. And that was the hardest part.
But your point you made, you go back to it, we die.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's
know,
a possibility.
and I'm proud of you, because
mean,
you get that. I know that. I mean, I've been off alcohol for 45 years. And you know, I had a few lapses down the road, but if I was to restart, I mean, it's just like not even an option or a thought in my life, you know.
No,
but
I think I'm at that point too. I mean,
yeah, but it's
you know, it's uncontrollable. You just to even be in the presence of it is dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt that a few times, but I kind of just got away from the situation. I'm like, I gotta go. I'll see you later. You know,
Yeah.
I don't need to explain.
You even tried it with your family, huh? I was so proud of you. There are situations that you tried to reconcile in different ways, and you wanted to show them that you're so much healthier and better and sober.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody applauded that, huh?
No,
you know, it wasn't as easy as you thought possibly.
I think that hurt the worst is knowing my family was like calling me names and putting me down and telling me, you know, you ain't nothing. You know, just because my last name is the same as yours, you know, it doesn't mean that mine doesn't mean the same as yours because I'm sober. You know, this 10 feet tall Superman thing is it's not me. You'll realize later on in life when you sober up how stupid you sounded then. But I wasn't the one judging you.
Right.
Everybody else judged you. That's why you judged me. All I wanted to do was show you, hey, this could happen for you.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm happy. Look at me.
Yeah.
But you wanted me to drink. You tried to force me to drink by all that.
That was pretty scary.
And I had to fight my way out of it.
You didn't do it, man.
No,
I'm so proud of you.
And that was one thing, you know, that's at that point it was either, you know, if you even pour it down or splash it in my face, and you know what, you could kill me. It's life or death either way for me. So I really had to fight my way out of it and just be like, you know what,
literally,
I'm done. Yeah,
literally.
And I had to throw some balls and kick a couple times, but I got out of the truck and I got away. You know, I had it was a long walk, but you know, once I got to where the bus system started, I was like, I'm good. I'll be okay. And I came back here. You know, I came back here shaking, crying, afraid. Like why? Why does my family treat me that way? You know, and I don't know. You know, it's just it was rough, but now I look at that and I take that experience and I learn from that. As far as like with my niece, you know,
right.
I tell her, I don't judge them. I don't talk down to them. You know, and I tell them, you have a choice. You make that choice, but be accountable for that choice if it's a bad choice. Yeah. That's all you got to do.
See?
And
you have a way. You have a way of saying, I love you. I'm not going to judge you, you know, and I'm going to say and speak into your life.
Right.
But it's up to you what you do with that.
Right.
You know, and we have to understand that we work with so many addicts here, and we fall in love with all of them. And
some we get close to,
but we know we can't change them. We don't have the power.
Yeah.
But thank God we know the power.
And that's why we have a serenity prayer. You know,
yes.
There are things we can't change. We can just accept them, you know, and just pray for them. And
yes.
Like you said, you know, just love them. Love them like a brother. Love them like a sister, because their own brothers and sisters don't love them like that.
When they walk in with no shoes when it's snowing.
You know, they just got sock on with the holes in them, and
they're so beat up. They have nothing. I mean, it's just like, wow.
They're scared. You know,
we're glad that we can help in so very many ways here.
Yeah,
you know?
And we do. I mean, not just from the shelter standpoint, but the church, the groups. You know, they all help. Especially everything. You know, when a majority of the times I wasn't religious, but I come to churches. I've experienced different ones.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm more a spiritual person where I don't judge other religions. I experience it and I see what they're doing. Mm-hmm. In the end, we're all doing the same thing. We're trying to love one another and pray for one another, pray for peace, to find that, you know, higher power, to believe and have faith in them, that's going to get us through.
And our higher power, we call him Jesus Christ here, Holy Spirit, Father. Mm-hmm. I mean, he has done a work in your heart and in your life and in so many others. You know, we just share the power of the word, the power of the experience of knowing the living God. And we just fill these folks up, you know, spiritually and physically.
Yeah.
And then they go on out, and then the Holy Spirit continues to do that work in them. And that's where we say, I'm not responsible for that. Mm-hmm. I'm responsible for sharing that grace, that mercy, that love, the word, you know, and just letting them build that relationship with the Holy Spirit where they can see that they're not alone in it. Just to invite them into your chaos, you know, don't run from him because you're ashamed, you know, invite him into that. And allow him to break allow a breakthrough in your life. Remove that mountain,
He brings
kick down
peace.
that wall.
He does
you
bring
know.
peace.
Yeah, so we can see life through a different lens. So
we just have to allow it to.
we have to allow it. That's right. He knocks at the door of our heart. Revelations 3:20 says, "Behold, I stand at the door of your heart and I knock. If any man would open up the door and sup with me, I will with him." But he is a gentleman. He's not going to say, "I'm going to push you. I'm going to make you." No. He says, "I'm here. Do you want me?"
Right.
And we say, "I invite you. Come in."
Exactly.
And that's what I did 45 years ago. That's why I am this is my new addiction.
45 years. Wow.
Helping people for the last 29 years here on Trumbull and Mesilla.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. When I came in 96, crack, that was the epidemic at the time.
Right.
Alcohol's always been there.
Yeah.
Heroin's always been there.
Yeah.
But then we see this transition into the methamphetamine and the heroin, and then the fentanyl blues. We just started to see this wretched, horrific drug captivate people to the point where they lose who they are.
I look at Chris, and thank God he didn't OD on it.
Our CJ, Chris? Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I don't know if he's told you before, but I did time with him. And I've seen him young, running, athletic, just full of life, and I would watch him play basketball all the time. And, he would run. And I got out. I hadn't seen him for years. But I came here, and then he was like, looked at me, was like, I didn't recognize him at first. He completely changed. He lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
He got that thing in his neck.
Yeah. He was like that for a long time.
Yeah. Just nodding out from whatever he was doing. He got stuck in that position. And like I said, I didn't recognize him. But once I knew who he was, I was like, we started talking and everything. But I saw him, I was like, he was like okay with where he was at. He's like, I got it. I'm working on it. I was like, okay, how much work do I got to put in on you to?
Yeah.
Are you motivated? Are you are you?
Oh, I was working with him, believe me.
But at that point, at the time, I didn't know that you had been working with him that long.
For a long time. Because I met him in 2015. And when he would come in here, he was a mess.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, And then I opened up the Compassion Center, and he walks in and he looked better, but he was still on the heroin. And then and methamphetamine. And then he started the fentanyl. So we just would have these great conversations, and he was almost ready. And then he'd pull back again. So we interviewed him last week.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody's going to see him.
Yeah.
And he's telling his story.
Okay.
They're going to get to see Christopher.
Oh, wow.
And now he's in Barber College.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's going to get his license, and he could open up his own business.
Yeah, that was one of the things that he would do in there too. He would cut hair a little bit.
Would he cut hair?
Every now and then, But like I said, even back then, he may have been a knucklehead, but to see him now, the bad change that he went through, and I felt bad because I didn't even recognize him.
Have you seen him recently?
Yeah, I saw him yesterday, matter of fact, before he was coming in.
Great.
And he, but I told him, I'm proud of you. You're not letting this. You're taking accountability.
Yeah, he could have died.
Yeah,
he could have overdosed.
Yeah, but I was like, I sat down with him the first time. I was like, what happened to you? You weren't. Shock. I didn't leave you like this. I was like, what happened? We talk so much that and just I don't know. We all make our own choices.
Yeah.
But in the end, like I said, he's still like a brother to me.
Yeah, we get to see these miracles, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
did you know Sean before he had gotten clean?
No. Not
You
Sean.
didn't know Sean?
Uh-uh.
Oh, he
I
was a
didn't.
scary character.
I've heard about him, but I
Yeah,
didn't.
he's awesome. Now you would never
You know what?
know.
I take that back. I may have seen him once or twice,
Yeah,
but it wasn't really like anything that I worried about because I didn't really bother anybody when I was out there.
just all
but
these miracles. I love it.
you know,
I
just
love
even like what was his name? Vincent. Was it Vincent? The guy I worked with at Goodwill. He surprised me.
You're talking about Craig.
Yeah, Craig.
Yeah, he's doing awesome too.
Yeah, and it surprised me when he was like, "Is Pastor still there?" I was like, "Who?" And he was like, "Pastor Joanne." I was like, "Where?" He's like, "At the Compassion Center." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And he was like, "Tell her I said hi." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I will." And I was like, "Does she know you?" He's like, "Yeah." And then he went into the whole.
Yeah,
We were there when she first started, and I was
he
like,
was.
"Wow." I was like,
Yeah.
you know, but he was doing good. He was waiting. Had been sober. Like again, he's in a sober house and doing good. And he was getting ready to go to the county.
He is. He's working with the county now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He
He's
had
doing
left
really, really
Goodwill.
good.
He wasn't sure about the other job, but
Yeah.
he had left.
I'm
Goodwill.
so proud of him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's another one. Thank God he didn't die out there.
Right. Sometimes I see people, you know, and one other guy that I worked with, he OD'd. He ended up relapsing and he OD'd.
He died.
Yeah.
Aw.
And that, you know, it hurt everybody at work.
It does hurt us.
And
All of us
because,
when we hear. We've
you
had
know,
10 here this last year
Yeah. And
that died.
I know Ivan was one of them that I was
Yep.
close to.
Yep.
Jerry,
yeah.
you know, his was an OD, but
No, cancer
just
got him. Yeah.
I mean, you get close to so many people, you watch their progress or their regression, and then their progress again. You're proud of them, and you know you keep pulling for them, but then something happens like that, and it's like
I know.
it hurts.
It
you know,
does.
like there's a hole left in you. But then with the way I look at it now, it's like, you know, whatever I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna do because these guys didn't get that chance to do it.
Amen.
I'm
We're
gonna
do
go
it for
this
all
one.
of them.
Yeah,
Amen.
I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna get somebody. I'm gonna look for somebody. You know, this friend, she's on her feet now. She's doing well. She's awesome. You know, she's happy,
Yep.
and I tell her I'm proud of her. Now I got a niece that just decided to get sober, and now I'm
Beautiful.
encouraging her. But it's gonna get a little harder because my phone got cut off. I was like you said, you know, send her a message every day. I was
Right.
doing that, but now
Right.
that my phone's cut off, I'm just like trying to get a message to her
You'll
however
get
I
it
can.
back. You're gonna get, this
You
is just
know.
a little bit of a setback, but you're gonna get back to
Right,
where you need to
right.
be again. You know, and I'm just so glad I didn't dismiss you that night, Jonathan, and when I smelled alcohol and I met you, you know,
Yeah.
but the Lord said, you hold on to this one. And I'm glad. I'm glad that He
glad you
spoke to
didn't
my heart
kick me out
because
either.
I love you and I am so proud of you.
I thank you.
And
Pastor.
you've been one of the greatest investments that we could have ever made, you know, with the Interfaith and the Compassion Center,
Yeah.
you know, and giving you that opportunity to thrive and rise up, you know.
That's it. You know, I mean, and that's the one thing the only thing that I really needed was, like I said, just a place to just sit down, rest, heal, get enough, you know, rested enough to be able to get up and start over again
And move forward.
and
I
keep
love
going.
it. I
And
love it.
now that I'm going back Saturday, hopefully everything will start going back.
You're going to
and
be fine. It's going to be great again.
be awesome.
And like I said, if you ever want to consider considering again the CNM, going back to college, I have a laptop.
Yeah.
And I gave one to Rachel, and she just, they know how to put there's a little thing that needs to go in to update it for CNM.
Oh, okay.
It's got to be an 11. It's actually a 10, but
Oh,
they know how to
okay.
do it.
Okay.
And I think it costs $10.
For
So-
at CNM?
Just how you gotta insert something
Oh,
into
okay.
the laptop,
I'll talk
and
to
it'll
Sean.
be
Yeah.
it'll be compliant
I think Sean
with CNM. Yeah, they know how to do it. And talk to Dakota too when you're ready, because he's the
Okay.
one. He used to work for Electronics Store,
Yeah.
and his friend is the one that helped him get Rachel's going.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
why they're doing online classes right now.
That's also, yeah.
So you
I'll talk
have,
to Dakota.
I'm saving that for you. So you have a laptop.
Okay. That's
We have to
awesome.
do just
Yeah.
a small little insert.
Goodwill
and-
has a scholarship. They're offering a scholarship for $1,000 too. So I'm
Woohoo!
gonna apply for that
Yeah,
once I
let's
get
do
back.
it.
And
Well, thank
I'm
you.
gonna get back. I will get back.
Yes, you will, Jonathan. And thank you so
Goodness.
much for
Thank
taking
you,
your
Pastor.
time today. And you have such an amazing story. And then we're going to come back again, maybe next year, Lord willing, and we're going to do updates on all of you guys.
No problem.
So we can continue to see you guys thriving and
Right.
the new things that are happening in your life.
Okay, sounds awesome.
So thank you.
Whole year
We
from
love
now.
you. Yay.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you.
You're
Love you too.
Okay.
All
Talk
right.
to you next time.
Yeah.